Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and continuing our trend of kind of branching out into other universes, today we're jumping headfirst into the Doom universe. And going back to the very style that started my entire channel, being most detailed breakdowns, particularly of armor platforms, today we're giving the Praetor Suit the most detailed breakdown. Now at the onset, I'm just going to say that the amount of lore available for the Praetor Suit and its design specifications are relatively limited due to the current status of the Doom universe being somewhat relatively recently rebooted and just really having deep lore kind of coming into the universe. So as such, I will kind of cite what information I can that is kind of already hard lore and extrapolate based on the in-universe lore and physics. However, there will be certain aspects of this breakdown that will have to be speculative. That being said, I'm not one for just taking wild stabs in the dark. My professional qualifications and expertise in materials engineering, computer science and working knowledge will inform many of my speculations brought forward for the sakes of attempting to explain the suit and its functions in a more comprehensive manner, as you've grown so accustomed to on this channel. Should new lore obviously be released that explains more functions of the suit, I will of course make revisions to any assumptions henceforth put forward. So, without anything further to say, let's take a closer look at the Praetor Suit. The Praetor Suit is an armoured suit worn by the Doomslayer. Though the Union Aerospace Corporation, or USC, have had the opportunity to analyse the suit, even with their best scientists and engineers, they turned up precious little information on the specifics of the Praetor Suit, with their UAC report file reading, additional relics were found in the tomb alongside the Doom Marine, some incantation tablets and an ancient combat suit which was given a name, the Praetor Suit. When found, it was encased in an inscribed stone tomb. The suit was extracted from the rock, cleaned and subjected to numerous tolerance tests, and found to be almost impervious to any damage. It seemed to have some mechanical function as well, small receptors on the gloves and chestplate that attracted argent plasma and dissipated it through capillary tubes in the substructure. Markings on the armour were also consistent with images of a man, or humanoid, seen in several of the tablets and stones found on other expeditions. The same markings were also noted on the Helix Stone. Despite it being clear that the suit can be activated in some way, no method has been found to do it. It appears to be missing a component, likely the Doom Marine himself." End quote. Seeing the Doomslayer in action, however, and the extended lore does begin to reveal information regarding the suit. The Praetor has become synonymous with the Doomslayer. The suit enhances the Slayer's strength, speed and endurance by acting as an attenuation device between the Slayer's biological form and the esoteric energy sources that permeate the various realms of the Doom universe. The suit is highly advanced as it has sophisticated situational awareness systems and utilises energy in different forms to upgrade itself. On top of this, the suit allows the Slayer to transition through teleportation portals between locations in normal space and transitions between the dimensions of the universe with no adverse effect to his health. The radiation that would be produced by such portals would likely be lethal in sufficient doses, indicating that the Praetor Suit has sophisticated radiation proofing. Alongside this, the macroscalar quantum translocations would likely tear objects apart, and exiting into dimensions that don't necessarily function on identical laws of physics also shows the suit can attenuate these fluctuations and stabilise space around the wearer during these transitions and possibly even after this. So let's take a closer look at each of the major components of the Praetor Suit. The suit's outer shell is made of an unknown material. It is believed to be metallic in nature, as evidenced by some small areas showing signs of age-related oxidation or rust. The metal in question is unknown. All that is known is that the outer shell is nearly impervious to all damage, as was declared on the UAC report. That being said, it is also witnessed that upon the Slayer waking up in the UAC facility and putting on his suit, the suit itself provides no immediate armour protection. This is likely for gameplay purposes. However, if there is a lore basis as to why this is the case, I would assume that the suit's ability to absorb energy from various sources is used to enable or toughen the armour in some way, and that at this stage the suit had drained its energy reserve. That being said, if this were the case, the UAC report wouldn't have described the plating as being nearly impervious, which leads me to believe it is in truth simply for gameplay purposes. Given that the suit can be worn and moved around in with relative ease, this rules out a super dense material being the primary armor plating material, and most other materials on the periodic table that bear similar properties are not strong enough to be classified as impervious to damage, as even materials that rate at 10 on the Mohs hardness scale, or classed as super hard rating above 40 gigapascals on the Vickers hardness scale, can still be damaged with sufficient force. This suggests a secondary process leading to the outer armour to take on this impressive level of damage resistance. The majority of the armour plates are dark green, silver and black and cover the chest and back, shoulders, upper and lower arms, hands, waist, groin and legs. The larger green plating is connected together via silver and black interconnecting and articulated plating. On the chest and gauntlets are small receptors, which we'll look at in detail shortly, as they play a very interesting role in the function of the rest of the suit and to the Slayer. It appears like there are at least 7 pads around the waist of the armour affixed to what appear to be ammo pouches. The pads, in theory, could be where weapons are stored, however no weapons aside from the one being held by the Slayer are ever witnessed to actually be visible on the armour. In theory, there could be 3 more pads, however these are not immediately obvious. There is a theoretical possibility that these pads are actually trans-dimensional or portal-based weapons holsters, in that the Slayer can move to holster a weapon on one of those pads, and the suit will activate a portal to a pocket dimension, where the weapon is stored, taking up no physical space in the normal 3 dimensions of reality, instead being held in a space between spaces until they are needed. The Slayer need only reach for this respective pad or activate the user interface on his HUD regarding the weapons, and the suit would reactivate the portal and bring the weapon back into normal spacetime. This would explain why the Slayer is capable of carrying 10 weapons simultaneously without actually appearing like he is carrying any weapons at all. However, this could also simply be for gameplay purposes. I prefer the former because the excuse because of gameplay is much less enjoyable to theorise on. The suit features some additional peripheral systems, including the Deep Space Rebreather, which automatically regulates the air mixture for high and low pressure environments, High Impact Chest, which snaps into place on the chest to protect the wearer from high impacts, the Performance Upgrade, which was created for the Praetor Suit to manoeuvre effortlessly while in air or in vacuum. Stabilizers help the wearer to adjust to the enhanced movement of the suit, the Delta Jump Boots, which allows the user to perform a double jump, greatly increasing the jump height. The Doom Blade is a retractable wrist-mounted blade. The blade is strong enough to cleave demon flesh and bone from body with ease, and is a highly effective close combat weapon. On the Praetor Suit's left shoulder is a launcher capable of firing fragmentation grenades, ice grenades, or a flamethrower. And finally, the dash thrusters, which activate and propel the suit at very high speed in the direction of the user's choice, closing distance between enemies and covering space between obstacles or climbing points. The suit has an integrated support structure to which all the armor plates are connected. The structure is self-supporting and thus means that the wearer doesn't carry the weight of the armour, instead the suit carries its own weight. This support structure is completely articulated, allowing unencumbered movement for the Slayer, while providing the essential foundational structure for the armour plating. The structure can be found as what appears to be a silver cage-like structure around the wearer. The forearms, for example, feature 4 separate bands connected by intermediate structures on the outer and inner forearm, leading to the elbow hinge. It stands to reason that this same aesthetic and function carries to every other major anatomical section. Judging by the back of the Praetor Suit, it seems likely that the arm structures connect via hinges to a support structure between the shoulder blades. This then appears to transfer the weight of the arms and torso structure through the spine via a complex articulated and armoured spinal structure. The abdomen also shows this same cage-like structure showing through, meaning that the abdominal plating can be hung on this structure, allowing full range of motion and transferring its weight into the spinal support. This likely continues down through the structure around the waist or coccyx and through the legs, bypassing the user's body and transmitting the weight into the ground. This will likely explain the size and profile of the lower legs being substantial enough to be noteworthy. However, it's simple logic that if the support structure was articulated but lacked any form of movement system, actuators or artificial musculature system, the suit would simply be inert, and thus the weight of the suit would be carried by the user. Given the Slayer's apparent strength, this likely wouldn't be too much of a hindrance for him. However, the suit does possess active movement assist systems in the form of servos located at the major joints of the armour, and passive movement systems in the form of force feedback circuits that allow the Praetor Suit to carry its own weight, negate the armour's weight, and provide a slight power amplification boost to the user. However, the immense levels of superhuman strength witnessed come from a different source altogether. The Techsuit is the innermost layer of the Praetor Suit. Not much is known about the particulars of this layer except that it is visible in areas between the armour plating, and carries additional armour plating itself, such as the abdominal armour, shoulder plating, and various other inset components. What is known is that the layer possesses an extensive network of capillary-like tubes through the substructure. This network would appear to encompass the entire inner layers of the suit, and bridge over to the inner surfaces of the armour plating and structural support and movement systems, but also bridges the gap down to the Slayer himself. The centre of this network are the receptors visible on the surface plating of the suit in key places, and it is here that much of the Praetor Suit's functions and superhuman abilities of the Slayer himself begin to reveal themselves. Located on the gloves and on the chest are these small receptors. They have been shown to change colour and serve extremely important function. These receptors allow the suit to absorb energy in close proximity to the suit. The mechanism by which this energy is identified, absorbed, and converted is entirely unknown, but what is known, and what can be inferred, is the effects of this process. Although this isn't specifically stated in the law, it is heavily implied by the effects of various energies on the suit and the Slayer himself. When the helmet's heads-up display indicates an armor pickup, for example, it is simply assigning an augmented reality overlay and icon to an energy source the suit has identified as being usable as an armor reinforcement. Various forms of energy exists in various dimensions and locations across the Doom universe, and it would appear that the Praetor Suit was designed with these various energy fields in mind. The creators of the suit, or at least the beings who perhaps upgraded the suit with this energy dissipation matrix, knew that these particular energies could be harnessed for physical means, as it seems that the relationship between energy and matter exists in the Doom universe as it does in the real world. Once this energy is detected and the suit assigns an icon and AR overlay to their approximate location in space, the Slayer can choose to move over to its location. These energies seem to exist in small, concentrated and self-sustained pockets and don't appear to immediately dissipate and equalize with the surrounding ambient energy, bringing it back into a state of equilibrium. Once the suit moves close enough to these self-contained pockets of energy, the receptors in the chest and gauntlets change their energy potential to create an attractive force by using sympathetic frequencies to the energy to be collected. This is often indicated by the receptors changing colour. The energy is thus attracted and siphoned through these receptors, where it is then distributed across the capillary tubes in the substructure. This energy is routed either to the suit itself or to the Slayer, depending on the nature of the energy. In the case of the armor pickup, the energy would appear to be directed to the armor plating of the suit. This energy then flows via a currently unknown mechanism throughout the armor, seemingly making the armor significantly stronger. I'd assume this happens by adding energy to the strong nuclear force, which is the force that holds most ordinary matter together at the atomic scale. Although the science isn't perfect, the most logical concept I can think of is that adding energy to the strong nuclear force effectively makes the atoms of the suit's armor plating more strongly bonded together, and as such, when the armor plating is struck by a projectile, the amount of energy imparted to the armor plate isn't sufficient to break this strong nuclear bond, thus ensuring the round does not penetrate. Indeed, if the UAC's observations suggest the suit is nearly impervious to damage, one would assume the bond is so strong that the atoms don't even move as a consequence of taking damaging energy in the form of heat or kinetic energy. Onward from this, the suit, at least at face value, does not appear to contain a conventional power source to power the various systems of the suit. Some have suggested that the power source of the suit may in fact be the Slayer himself, whereby the suit somewhat parasitically draws energy from the Slayer's own biology, and while that seems like it could be a legitimate power source, I'm inclined to believe something different. As previously stated, the suit can detect energy signatures nearby and analyse their profile, deciding whether the energy is usable to some degree or not. If it is, it assigns a relevant icon to its approximate location for the Slayer to move to and absorb if necessary. Argent energy is a new form of renewable energy that was discovered by the UAC in the late 21st century. It is produced by neutron activation of argent plasma. Publicly, argent energy was believed to originate on Mars, but in reality, it is secretly mined from Hell, where the element is innately tied to that realm and its demonic inhabitants. Argent energy is discovered to be none other than the combination of Sentinel energy and Hell essence, which is the power of tortured souls torn from the bodies of freshly dead mortals trapped in Hell. It's then purified by the ancient wraiths using Maker technology to feed Hell's legions and Erdak's makers, the husks of the victims left behind even bolstering their ranks by eventually becoming demons themselves. Found in Hell, Argent energy's metaphysical nature defies previous laws of physics on other forms of plasma. While plasma itself is a superheated gas to the point of freeing electrons to become ionized, Argent energy seems to be stable at higher than thought possible temperatures and can energize objects it comes into contact with. It seems logical, as the suit is capable of absorbing energy via its receptors and appropriating it via the capillary matrix, that it likely absorbs Argent energy for the sake of operating the suit, storing excess energy in a reservoir of sorts, and likely even feeding it through to the Slayer himself, giving an energetic sustenance to the Slayer's biology, and possibly even supercharging his already impressive physical abilities. Sentinel energy is yet another form of energy that the Praetor Suit appears to be able to absorb and manipulate. Sentinel energy has many extraordinary properties, with a seemingly endless number of uses, powering mighty machines and spaceships like the Fortress of Doom, to granting individual takers superhuman physique. The Sentinel energy is absorbed in the same way and appears to give similar function to the suit and the Slayer as Argent energy, given that Argent energy is just simply a refined mix of Sentinel and Hell energy. The suit has been observed changing the colour of the receptors on the chest from red, denoting Argent energy, to the blue of Sentinel energy. As a consequence of this change, a locked store for a Sentinel battery unlocked and granted the Slayer access to its contents. This suggests that not only can the receptor and capillary network feed energy into the suit and the Slayer, but also be used to project a sympathetic energy out to activate devices nearby that have the resonant energy selected, granting the Slayer access to practically any construct or facility he needs. Power-ups are another such energy that the suit appears to be able to absorb. However, these differ from previous energy sources in that they seem to drain significantly faster from the suit's reserves, and thus only grant a short duration of the power-up's effects. The Onslaught power-up appears as an orb of purple energy, and allows the Slayer to deal quad damage with weapons. It is assumed that the energy augments the projectile of the weapon, altering the energy potential of the projectile upon impact, making it hit the target with 4 times the energy of normal unaugmented projectiles. There is evidently also an overflow of this energy, as it has been seen that the Slayer's eyes will glow and radiate a purple energy upon activating this power-up. The yellow overdrive power-up enables the Slayer to move much faster and guarantee infinite ammo. From a movement perspective, this could simply be that it directs the excess energy into the suit's movement systems and the Slayer's metabolism and nervous system, pushing both of their operational capabilities to hyperhuman levels. I use the term hyperhuman as it's already a demonstrable fact that the Slayer is superhuman, even when stark naked. It is unclear how this power-up uses its energy reserve to enable unlimited ammunition. Again, the Slayer's eyes will glow in yellow energy over the duration of the use of this power-up. The Berserk power-up is a red energy that pushes the Slayer into a berserk rage. This energy permeates the Slayer's muscles, cardiac and circulatory system, central nervous system and adrenal glands, allowing him to tear demons apart with his bare hands, while also reducing the amount of damage taken. The Slayer's eyes glow an aggressive red during the berserk rage. Sentinel crystals are a crystalline object containing reserves of Sentinel energy. Argent cells are also crystalline in nature and contain reserves of Argent energy. The energy within these has been carefully crafted and refined to unlock additional peripheral functionality to the Praetor Suit and the Slayer. They cannot be appropriated by the suit for any other function than these upgrades. These additional functions vary from increases in equipment speed and damage to additional health perks for the Slayer. The helmet contains a large array of functionality. The helmet sports a two-way communication function which enables AI synergetic links between the suit and the Fortress of Doom. Through this link, the Slayer's AI partner, Vega, and later Dr. Hayden, can interact with the Slayer via holographic projections through his helmet. Vega can also access and bypass the advanced security locks in most UAC and ARC technologies when the need arises, giving the Slayer unfettered access to any system he comes across. The helmet contains a full heads-up display built into the visor. The heads-up display is capable of displaying critical situational awareness data. The system inside also detects the weapon being held and displays a targeting reticle matched to the angle and trajectory of the barrel and thus the rounds to be fired. It lists the amount of ammo available for the weapon, as well as armour and personal health. Waypoints, a compass and active attachments, features and power-ups are also visible via the HUD. The HUD features sophisticated UI that links to many of the secondary and tertiary functionality of the suit, as well as tracking the location of the suit in space and projecting a 3D map for quick reference by the Slayer. It displays a notification to the Slayer of an adversary's weakness and closeness to death by overlaying an augmented reality light beacon over the enemy in question, changing from blue to orange based on how close the individual is to death. During these moments, when the demon is suffering, performing a glory kill can reward the Slayer's actions by a more bountiful drop of energy the suit can acquire. The HUD can also be customised for preference of the Slayer based on the needs of the time. The helmet likely contains significantly more functionality, but as of yet, we haven't seen the full extent of its functionality. For example, it is assumed the helmet contains communications gear for coordinating with allies in the area. We don't know for certain, however, because the Slayer very rarely talks. The Praetor Suit is a very impressive exoskeleton with some features that put it in line to being quite possibly one of the most powerful suits in the entire multiverse. Its ability to absorb and reappropriate energy to strengthen the armour and the Slayer make it a symbiotic masterpiece that is also, appropriate enough, the last thing many of the hordes from hell see before they are quite literally torn apart by the Slayer and his insatiable rage. The Praetor Suit is fast becoming as legendary as the Slayer himself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Be sure to like the video if you did, and pop a comment below on what you'd like me to cover next. I just want to take a moment to thank my patrons, Spartan10148, the Metarch of my facility, Falcon, Sophia, Mikhail, Ashley, Jordan and Esoteric Sight, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legions Lost, Labrat, Spartan0137, Jacob Kemp, Sean, Element Zero, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger, Evermore, Personal Devil, Aldiaz, Toxic, Scion Esports, Gem Saber and Relentless, my diligent sub-monitors, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. If you want your name on the end of the video and some perks earned along the way, head over to Patreon and consider supporting the channel yourself. Big shout out to my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members, Spartan137, Jacob Kemp, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella, Jimbo and Balaz, and all the other YouTube members keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy, with a special mention to the Accursed Hunter. Shout out to John due to the mathematical formula used to determine the area within a pentadodecahedron. Oh, and Lena because that sandwich. And remember, there are tons of ways to support the channel and keep my installation pumping out content at a breakneck speed. Much love to you all, take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.